Hi, I'm Adam, and this is another episode of Welcome to Dungeon with my host,
Ben Knudsen.
All right, today we're going to kind of talk about building and encounters. Hopefully we haven't been boring you guys too much. If there's anything else you'd like us to talk about, just leave a comment for us, and we'll try and cover your topics. So, Ben, how do you go about building encounters?
After you get basically the group all set up, how all the roll-ups and all that, you have to figure out what type of enemies are really good against the group and what are really bad. So if you have a group of like holy fighters, you're going to go with undead and demons and devils. But if you have a group of like just normal everyday classes, you're not really going to go for those heavy hitters off the bat, those undead that have ability score poisons and things of that nature. But you're also not going to go for something as simple as, let's say, a goblin horde if they're all fighters, because goblins are very good starting, but that's only if you have low, like everyone's stats are low and they swing are low.
Yeah.
One thing I always have to watch out for is when I estimate like attacks and armors and ACs and all that stuff, I always take who has the highest attack, and then you just add 10 to that to gauge what they're averagely going to hit. While another class like monks who take negatives on attacks, their lowest are going to be a little lower. So let's say my monk right now is only a level 3 or 2 right now, and I'm swinging with a +3 when I flurry, while there's other characters in that group that have a +7. So a DM will probably go for the ones who can hit higher, but a monk I can hit more. You have to kind of average that out.
Yeah, I know that with playing my dual wielder in your campaign, that obviously it's harder to hit the more attacks you're doing.
Yeah.
But you have more chances to hit.
Yep. And your damage output when you do hit with everything is pretty good.
Because I think my character has 6 attacks, 7 while raging right now, from all the feats and shit. But
yeah, like that's the main thing. Is like if your characters are going to be like the one kind of hit type of character that does all the damage in one and kind of screws all the rest, you're going to basically just say, all right, I need something that can take damage and have a high AC, but if you have a group of characters that deal as much damage over time, like in multiple hits or even spells, then you're going to have to adjust the encounters by that.
How do you handle like using rogues with sneak attack when there's players for the encounters? Because I know some people who play rogues, up until they get improved feint, they don't have a whole lot of opportunity to utilize their primary DPS ability.
Yep. To utilize the main rogue's abilities, you're going to want to flank a lot. You're going to have to want a comrade around you, depending on the system you're using. And once they do get the ability to feint, then you're going to have to focus on a feint is, even if they have improved feint, it's still a move action, so they're only going to get one attack in. So you have to counteract that. But most of the time, sneak attack goes through DR and everything. So they're going to be dealing plenty of damage if they still only get one hit. When it comes to special abilities, like a ranger's favorite enemy, the sneak attack of the rogue, a paladin smite, you're going to have to average out all the damage that they're dealing out and figure out what type of creatures can handle that amount of damage output. Now, if you're going with goblins, low CRs, like goblins, simple zombies, who take a lot of damage, that they're basically just meat shields. So they're just XP dumps at that point in time. But later on, when you're fighting giants, you're fighting demons, you're fighting Rakshasas, things of that nature that have a higher hit points and more abilities that they can use, you're going to have to look at your whole group in a total and see if there's any chance that if they're rolling bad, if they're rolling good, or any of the thing that can happen in there, you have to adjust the encounter solely on that. And you have to be worry about who's actually coming. Because if you're missing a couple players, that's going to change your CR as well.
So before we get too far, let's go back to the sneak attack for a little bit, because I guess I didn't realize. What exactly allows them to use their sneak attack die, aside from being unseen when they attack? Or using improved feint?
So in Pathfinder, sneak attack is a little bit more versatile in that you can add it to all your attacks if you are not seen. But also, if you are flanking and you hit multiple times, you can get your sneak attack off on each one. When it comes to the feint, your sneak attack, you roll your bluff, and then your enemy rolls a sense motive. If your bluff beats their sense motive, you catch them off guard, flat-footed. So you just have to hit their flat-footed, and you get your sneak attack off.
See, I guess I never realized in Pathfinders you get it for flanking.
Yep. As long as you catch the enemy off guard. So flat-footed, and for flanking, they're classified as flat-footed, and you get a bonus to your attack.
So when they're flat-footed, or when they're flanking, when you're flanking a guy, is that enemy now flat-footed?
Yes. Because he's getting attacked from multiple directions.
Oh, I am such a noob at this.
It's okay.
I guess another thing that I really like to cover is because I've heard different things, because I've played / GM'd a lot of different RPGs. How do you go, let's say you have a group of 4 players, they're all level 4.
Yes.
Now, I want to make my own character, my own enemy, that's a bad guy straight from the core book or whatever.
Okay.
What's an ideal level to make something like that for fighting the party? Because I've heard ones where, if you do that, they should be level 4 because the average party's player level is 4, that your CR should only be 4 and the level's equal to their CR for the bad guy. But I also feel like that one player or one character of level 4 isn't a fair fight for 4 players of level 4.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to actually accommodate for, because you and me both know that a level 4 NPC or a level 4 PC, either or, can take on a whole group easily. You've team killed. It's not the hardest thing in the world if you're rolling really good and you have the right class. When it comes to making an NPC that is a character class, you're going to have to maybe go 1 or 2 levels higher, and by that time they'll have more hit points, probably have a higher AC, more attacks. When it comes to the level 4 group, you're going to probably want to go level 6 so that the enemy can at least have 2 attacks or 2 weapons. Or if they're spellcasting, you're wanting to go at least level 6 as well, so they can get close to 3rd level spells, so they get more damaging spells. So
challenge, you'd consider that an average challenge for them then?
Yeah, actually, I've been the past few sessions I've DM'd, I've found out that characters, usually PCs, can handle the CRs that they're supposed to, quote unquote, by the book standards, but they can usually handle CRs higher than that. So
yeah, I know they have a whole system for how much higher the CR should be, dependent on how much harder you want the challenge to be.
And how many people are in a group. So what I've been doing lately is I've been looking at making all my CRs legendary class, because that gives the enemies more buffer zone. Because if it's not a challenge for players, there's a good chance that players might not come back. But if it's too much of a challenge, then they're just going to get upset that they're not doing what their character thinks that they should be doing. If I'm a monk and I get flurry of blows and I'm doing all this damage but I can't hit, I feel bad. I feel like I'm not contributing.
Yeah.
But if I'm a fighter who's just hitting all the time, but I'm getting dominated by will saves or anything like that, then I feel like I am not doing my part. I'm being a pawn.
That's exactly how I felt against that drow lady we fought in your dungeon campaign. I needed a natural 20 to hit.
Yep. Yeah, she was a vampire monk drow, which, looking at that, it was pre-written years ago, and it was meant for a group of 4 with all of them were supposed to be at least level 12s. You guys did that whole thing as level 10s.
Yeah, I think if they were level 10s, I was level 9.
Yeah.
Plus they had magical items and I didn't have shit. But.
Yeah. See, that's the biggest thing too, is like when you're starting to get higher up, and yes, your base abilities are so good, but if magic has to be involved too in the combat, it gets more complicated if the group is not more balanced. If I just throw a character in that is an NPC or a PC that has no magical abilities, and you're fighting creatures that have just DR against everything but magic abilities, then the PC or NPC is just going to be water. That's it. They're just throwing water at someone. It's not going to do the damage. It's not going to be the outcome that either the player or the NPC wants.
Yeah, I currently know that, and I'm dealing with it because I'm still having fun with my character Norman. But my primary hand is magic, and then my offhand is not magic.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure to specify, tell you what damage I'm doing.
That's one of my biggest concerns is when I'm rolling up an enemy or I'm picking an enemy in the book and I'm looking at their special abilities, and I have to go through each character to at least an idea what each character is dealing, because you get so many attacks and you can deal so much damage. It's just your offhand is your weak point right now.
Yep.
But you got someone who's like Kevin's character, who is a fighter human, who is dealing roughly the same amount of damage and half the attacks as you, simply for the fact that he has magical weapon. And that's going to be the big part, is once you get another magical weapon, your damage output will be better than his, or even, well, it will be...
I don't know if it's just because we're in hell in your campaign and they were evil, but he's definitely doing a shitload more damage. I think on one attack, he was roughly doing the equivalent of 3 of my attacks before taking into account the enemy's DR.
Power attack. He's been power attacking with his weapon and his strength. Once you get your magical items in that campaign, you're going to do more damage than him. I've been thinking about other ways to make your natural attacks magical as well, but that's a topic for a different time. When it comes to encounters also, what is the goal of the encounter? That's going to be the main thing. Because if it's a random encounter that you fight on the road, like raiders or something like that, there's still a goal in there. They're going to be trying to take your money, they're going to try to kill you, anything, take your stuff. If it's just a random encounter for a random encounter, then you gotta really, really make sure that your PCs know that it's for XP and that it's going to help them out, get stronger. If they're being attacked by a bear, then they know that it's for nature. That's nature's attacking you. But if you're just being attacked by a group of goblins who just want carnage, then it's going to be harder for them to accept that.
Well, yeah, I mean, my second session, for whatever reason, just because you're in an area of high plains with tall grass and stuff, I really wanted to throw in velociraptors, so I made you guys get attacked by them.
Yes, that was the cool.
That was for more of my personal fun than having an actual reason to do it.
Well, it made sense, and it was interesting because in your world, I don't know it that well, and I don't want to know it simply for the fact that I want to be surprised. And when it comes to my world and people, I am more closer to more realistic possibilities. Yeah. But coming across a group of velociraptors was yes, I'm so excited.
I guess without giving away my world too much, it's just I'm taking a lot of inspiration from the stuff I know, other RPGs I've played. Mainly a lot of it's coming from Magic the Gathering for me. So there's going to be a mix of things. I mean, you probably won't get into too much futuristic stuff, but definitely just dinosaurs or bears or just basically anything in between,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, me too. It's not really Magic the Gathering for me. It's more like I read a lot of books and I play a lot of video games, and I like it. Right now, in my Hell campaign is actually based off Dante Alighieri's Inferno, the Divine Comedy, the game Shadow of the Damned by Suda51, and a few other like little bits here and there. And I'm just throwing these together, trying to figure out what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, and try to make it seem like, yeah, this could actually be what Hell seems like. And I'm doing the whole layer system too, so there's different aspects of Hell, so that you don't feel like it's all the same, like an actual plane of existence.
yeah.
So I've been making encounters based on what layer you're on. Like,
Yeah, I really like the 9 layers of Hell, I believe it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had a campaign kind of based off that, but people were getting bored, so I ended it quicker. But
Yeah.
the whole goal was to go up against the 9 Lords of Hell.
Yep. Usually, I've been doing lords more like pit fiends and Baylords and stuff like that. But I've been using a lot of like aspects of demons and creatures that aren't exactly demons, but they focus on wanting to become demons and devils. So they're trying to take shortcuts.
Yeah, no, mine was back in either 3rd edition D&D or 3.5 D&D.
Okay.
And I had the Book of Vile Darkness, so it covered all 9 Lords of Hell, and a whole bunch of other just fucked up shit like that.
I believe it was 3.5 because it was also the edition that came out with all the gods. Yeah.
But I think that's about it for today. It's a little bit shorter. Well, we'll be back next Thursday. This has been Welcome to the Dungeon with Adam and
Ben Knudsen.
have a wonderful day.